All right, let's talk about our second big point that the church can learn from the jazz combo, and that is improvisation within fixed boundaries. So when we play jazz here tonight or any other place, there's certain facets of the jazz culture, the jazz form, that are just simply taken to be givens, right? There's going to be a body of music. We talked about the real book or other tunes you guys know. We're going to exchange solos like we did. James and I exchanged solos there. There's different tempos, different genres. There's major and minor keys. There's different time signatures, 3/4/4/4, probably being the dominant choices. Different song lengths. These are the foundations of the jazz form. But beyond that, so those are kind of the givens. But beyond that, there's many things that can be undone. And we have the freedom to listen and respond. So we could very well find ourselves in a place that we might not expect. Like right, that ending that we just had. I don't really remember if we decided that we were going to end that quick, or just with that one note at the end. But we just kind of looked at each other and that's what we did. But it was just clear that we were all on the same page, you know. So we're listening and responding. We're creating on the fly in a sense, like we talked about, but our creation is not uninformed. It's not unstructured. We're not like God that creates from nothing. A lot of people come to me and say, "You've got 88 keys on the piano. Like, how do you know where to start? Aren't you paralyzed by all the options, right?" And we impose certain restraints on ourselves, like the ones I just mentioned, you know, to limit our choices. So I've got a key signature. I've got the language of the genre of the song we're playing, and all those things are informing what I do, you know. These fixed boundaries give great freedom to work with. I talk about it with my kids all the time. Boundaries bring freedom. I don't know if they buy that yet, but hopefully they will at some point. You know, boundaries bring freedom, and it's true in music too. These fixed boundaries give us great freedom to work within. Paul Berliner, in his classic book on the study of jazz, Thinking of Jazz, writes about this concept. Just as jazz was born from an amalgam of African, European, and African American musical elements, it has continued the practice of absorbing different musical influences. Jazz remains a characteristically open music system capable of absorbing new traits without sacrificing its identity. So, without sacrificing its identity, I think what he's getting at is like there's some fixed boundaries, but it's a flexible system, right? We can absorb different things. So is this not how our churches should be? We've got fixed boundaries too. We've got the Bible, we've got our creeds, we've got preferences of local church leadership, right? So we've got great freedom to express ourselves, communicate truth, interact with our culture, serve people. But should we not be skilled improvisers as Christians seek to bring the gospel to a world in need? So in order to achieve this, I really appreciate what Pastor Mark Driscoll talks about, the concept of the closed hand versus the open hand, right? So in the closed hand, we've got fixed, static, unchanging boundaries. These are not negotiable, right? Without these, Christianity would cease to be Christianity. Things like the distinction between God and creation. This is not Oprah Winfrey religion. This is a distinction between God and creation, between creator and creation. The truthfulness of God's word. We don't budge on that. The deity, perfection, humanity, substitution, resurrection of Jesus. We don't budge on those. Those are closed-hand issues, right? This is the foundation upon which we stand as Christians, right? But in the open hand, there's other things. And upon these, we're free to improvise. Things such as convictions about personal piety, strategies of evangelism, philosophies on how much Bible intake I need. You know, what's our view of baptism, maybe? How do we deal with the sacraments? Maybe there's some freedom in there that we can think about. So one classic example biblically is Acts chapter 6. You guys are probably mostly familiar with that. And the feeding of widows. We had a problem with that. Ecclesial problem, right? The early church. What are we going to do? There was the boundary of the necessity of the preached word, right? But upon that framework, we have freedom to improvise. And as a church, we need to improvise in the moment sometimes for problems to be solved. So like jazz, we've got these fixed musical boundaries we've been talking about. Should we not also, as a church, be free to improvise upon our fixed theological boundaries. There's great freedom to be creative towards the goal of the glory of God and greater flourishing of the people of God.